My girlfriend was living a double life. What I discovered changed everything. Our 3-year anniversary was supposed to be a celebration of us, a milestone in our relationship. But when my girlfriend texted that she'd be late because of work, I didn't think much of it. I trusted her, or at least I thought I did. As I sat alone at the restaurant, the candles flickering, something gnawed at me. She'd been distant lately, her phone constantly buzzing with notifications she never explained. That night, instead of waiting for her, I made a choice that would unravel everything I believed about our relationship. I decided to go see her at the office, just to surprise her. Little did I know, it would be me who was in for the surprise of a lifetime. I arrived at her office building, the city lights casting long shadows across the empty streets. It was quiet, too quiet for a place that should have been bustling with late-night meetings. I took the elevator up to her floor, my stomach churning with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Maybe I was overreacting, I told myself. Maybe she was really just caught up in work. But when I stepped out into the hallway and saw her office door slightly ajar, my heart sank. Inside, I could hear muffled voices, hers, unmistakably, and another deeper voice that sent a chill down my spine. I crept closer, peering through the crack in the door. My breath caught in my throat. There she was, sitting on her desk, not alone. A man, tall and confident, was leaning in close, his hand resting on her knee as they shared a laugh. It was the kind of laugh that used to be reserved for us, and it shattered something deep inside me. I wanted to burst in, to demand an explanation, but something held me back. Instead, I left, my mind swirling with confusion and betrayal. Who was this guy? And what was he doing with my girlfriend at this hour? Over the next few days, I became a man obsessed. I started paying closer attention, her late-night work sessions, her guarded phone, the way she always seemed distracted. I knew I had to get to the bottom of it. Then I found it, a hidden messaging app on her phone, tucked away in a folder of boring utilities. My hands shook as I opened it, scrolling through the messages. They were from M, the same man I'd seen with her in the office. The messages weren't just friendly, they were intimate, filled with plans for secret rendezvous and whispered promises that had never been made to me. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. She was living a double life, one that didn't include me. I couldn't just confront her without knowing the full truth, so I decided to follow her, to see where this double life led. A few nights later, she told me she had another late meeting, but instead of going to the office, she drove to an upscale part of town. I tailed her, my heart pounding with every turn. She pulled up to a luxury apartment building and casually strolled inside, like she belonged there. I parked nearby and waited, watching as the lights flicked on in a second-floor apartment. My stomach twisted in knots, but I had to know what was going on. I managed to slip into the building behind another resident and made my way to the apartment. My heart pounded as I stood outside the door, listening to the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses. I couldn't take it anymore. I knocked, the sound echoing in the hallway, and when the door opened, the look on her face told me everything. She stood there, frozen, her eyes wide with shock and fear. Behind her, M appeared, confusion quickly turning to realization. "Who's this?" he asked, his voice sharp. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My world was crumbling around me, and all I could do was stand there, number. She pulled me inside, shutting the door behind us, as if that could somehow contain the chaos she had created. "I can explain," she began, but the words felt empty, like they were meant for someone else, someone who hadn't just discovered that the person they loved was leading a double life. For the next hour, she tried to justify it, saying she loved us both in different ways, that she couldn't choose, that it wasn't about betraying me but about needing something more. But her words only deepened the wound. How could she claim to love me while living a lie with someone else? How could she look me in the eyes and tell me I was everything to her when she had another life behind closed doors? M tried to intervene, saying he had no idea about me, that he thought he was the only one. But that only made it worse. The reality was, she had been playing us both, weaving a web of deceit that finally snapped under the weight of her lies. I couldn't stay there any longer. I turned and walked out, ignoring her pleas, her desperate attempts to pull me back. The truth was out, and there was no going back to the way things were. The love we had was tainted, broken beyond repair. The drive home was a blur of anger, heartbreak, and a strange sense of relief. I knew I had done the right thing by leaving. As painful as it was better to know the truth than to live in the shadow of lies. In the days that followed, I cut all ties with her. I blocked her number, deleted her photos, and unfollowed her on social media. It wasn't easy, but each step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself that I had lost in the midst of her deception. Eventually, I moved on, stronger and wiser for the experience. The betrayal had hurt, but it also opened my eyes to the importance of honesty and trust. I realized that I deserved better, someone who would be all in, with no hidden lives or secrets. And so, I left that chapter of my life behind, ready to embrace a future where I could trust again, knowing that the right person would never make me question their loyalty or their love.